But I personally believe that Trevor Lawrence is going to be a bust. I believe T-Law, Trevor Lawrence is going to be a bust. Now, when I mean...
On today's episode of Bridge the Gap. That boy Steph Curry lighting the league on fire just like I told y'all he would. Is this his best season yet? Is he a real MVP candidate? KC and I discuss. It's NFL draft week, everybody, and you know the quarterbacks are the topic of discussion. But who's the best quarterback in this year's draft? Trevor Lawrence? I don't know. The answer might shock you. And we all know there's a couple NFL teams that's just a solid draft away from being real Super Bowl contenders. Who are those teams? KC and I discuss that and much, much more. Y'all know what time it is. It's Bridge the Gap. Tune in.
What's going on, Bridge the Gap family? We are back for another Bridge the Gap episode. Ajae, how you doing?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Happy to be here. How you feeling, man?
Man, like I always say, another day, another dollar. But before we kind of jump into everything, I wanted to just wrap with you real quick because it's a lot going on in the sports world. Obviously, we got the draft, coming up. The NFL draft at that, and then we got the NBA playoffs coming up, and it's a lot to kind of digest at the moment. But I know we talk about these two teams a lot, so I wanted to bring it up first. What are your thoughts on James Harden's setback during rehab?
It's sad, man. It's sad. It doesn't look like they're gonna be at full power, at their full potential at the start of the playoffs. And that really sucks. You know what I mean? This is a team that a lot of people expected to get to the NBA finals. I at least expected them to make a bit of a playoff run. Now without Harden, it's going to be tougher. I still think they have a shot to compete though. Remember how I felt about Kyrie and KD before James Harden got there. I still feel like that's a team that could compete for a championship. But at this point, seeing as though they traded away all of their depth to get James Harden, now they kind of need James Harden on the floor. So it sucks, man. It sucks. Hopefully he can get well soon and be back at least for the second round. Hopefully Brooklyn can possibly get out the first without him. Because I don't know, they maybe got 12 games left now, 15 at the most probably. Yes. So you're getting up on crunch time. We haven't seen the three of them play together a lot. A lot of that confidence people had in the Brooklyn Nets is starting to go down, and it's for a sucky reason, man. How you feeling about it, bro?
For me, I don't know. I'm kind of torn because that I was the main person saying if it's KD and James Harden, instead of KD and Kyrie, I think that Brooklyn had a better chance to go into the finals. But honestly, at this point, and I hate to say it, but it goes back to kind of what I was thinking at the beginning of the year. KD, just the year and a half he had off, I think it caught up to him. I think we expected to see something different. Obviously, we didn't know James Harden was coming, but now that he's come, he never really got to play with KD and Kyrie. They never got that. And then now that KD's back, James Harden is now out and probably will be out at least into the playoffs. So I just think that if they get Miami in the first round, I think that they can get bounced.
There's a possibility if KD is not healthy. I
don't even think it matters if KD is healthy. I think it's
a tough matchup.
And the only reason I say it will be a tough matchup. The only reason I say if KD is healthy or not, or it doesn't matter if he's healthy or not, is because Miami, one, they were in the finals last year. This is a battle tested team, but also they have they have the Nets kryptonite. Right? Yeah. They got size and they play good team defense, something the Nets don't. So I just think that if they were to run across Miami, and even if they were to get through Miami, I think they would then have to play the Bucks and then Philly. I just can't see them coming out the East. Even if they all got back a game before the playoffs, it wouldn't matter. It's too late at that point.
We gonna see, man. We gonna see. Hey, how you feeling about AD though? AD for those who don't know, AD is supposed to be back Thursday. We recording today. What's today? Wednesday. We recording on the Wednesday. This probably won't get out by the time he plays, obviously, but he'll be back Thursday against the Dallas Mavs. How you feeling about that?
AD is gonna have to show me something because I was disappointed in AD at the beginning of the season. Like
I
AD
was
was
too. I was
playing
too.
around. He wasn't playing. We would joke about it that he won a ring and bought a Bentley. Like AD was on a completely different headspace in the beginning of the year. So it'll be interesting to see how he comes back. And now, like this is the first time probably since DeMarcus Cousins, right, that AD has been able to like strictly play the 4. He doesn't have to worry about playing the 5. They got Drummond there, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out. But hey, I got to keep it objective. We need LeBron back too. Like the Lakers need to get LeBron back in that lineup because I think that there are other teams, and this year's a little weirder because the West, like everybody has a major injury right now or has gone through injuries, even throughout the league. So I think that they need to get LeBron back on the court and it'll work. But as far as AD, it's good to see him back. A lot of people didn't think he'll be coming back this season.
Hey, for the most part, I got one phrase to say. AD is on the way. AD is on the way. That's really hey, listen, I'm geek, man. I'm ecstatic. I know he's gonna be on the minutes restriction, but I'm gonna watch every bit, every second of him playing. And I don't look for much right away. I'm looking for AD to come in, get his feet under him. He's gonna have to get back in shape, obviously, because he's missed over a month or so of basketball. So it's gonna take him some time to get 2 months, right? But it's gonna take him some time to get back in the groove, get his rhythm back. But it's good for him to be back. And I feel like he's coming back at the right time. You know what I mean? He says he's 100%. The Lakers coaching staff, the Lakers medical staff, they made sure they didn't rush AD back before he was ready. And I'm happy about that. The team balled without LeBron and AD. They went 6-7, 7-9, somewhere around in there. So they stayed afloat, sitting in the 5th seed right now in the West. Sitting comfortably, might I add, because the Blazers and the Mavs have been losing, and then you got Denver, who just lost Jamal Murray, so they're really in a comfortable spot right now. Not really worried about LeBron. I feel like LeBron's gonna be LeBron. It won't take LeBron more than a couple games to knock his rust off. LeBron's gonna be LeBron. I'm not worried about him, and he's an easy piece for the Lakers to fit in because they've played with him before. So I'm not too concerned about him. My biggest concern is with AD, so I'll be watching carefully. But again, Laker fans, AD's on the way, and I'm happy about that, man. Like in a league where a lot of people are getting hurt, in a league where a lot of people aren't healthy, we seem to be getting healthy at the right time before the playoffs. And as long as we don't have to play in a play-in game, remember, KC, a team got to beat us 4 times. You ain't gonna beat us 4 times if AD and Bron is out there. It's not gonna happen. So I'm happy AD is back. Can't wait to see him. Like I said, I'm happy he's 100%. And I'm looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward to what he brings to the table.
Yeah, I agree. It should be interesting. Real quick note about AD and Bron. One thing that I just thought about last year with the bubble, they had 3-4 month layoff before they got to hooping again. All they needed was a couple games, and they were able to make it so.
And they looked trash in the bubble, and they actually took game 1 to work some rust off too. They was trash in game 1 against the Blazers, and then they gentlemen swept them. And they did the same thing throughout the West. So I'm not concerned. As long as we are healthy, I'm okay. But like I said, I'm happy to have AD back, man. For real. It's about damn time.
Yes, AD is on the way. But I want to transition into this is probably one of the most incredible. And over the years, I really have developed an admiration for this person's game. I just watched him play night after night, and it's a show. It's one of the most exciting shows in basketball, I think. But we have to talk Stephen Curry, because the last 10 games, the dude is special. The dude is special. So I just want you to kind of talk about, I guess, what are your thoughts on Steph? I have a very particular opinion on it, but I'll let you go first. But what are your thoughts on what you've seen from Steph Curry this year and how he's been balling lately?
Y'all know how I feel about my dog, Steph Curry. Okay. I said before the season started that he'd be a MVP candidate. I had him in my top 3. I had him at number 3 if I remember correctly. And one of the biggest things I said, and one of the biggest reasons why I said Steph Curry is going to be a top 3 MVP candidate this season, is because in order for the Warriors to make the playoffs, they gonna need Steph Curry to be that dude this year. And that's what he's been trying to do. Even so, they haven't been winning a lot of games. They've been kind of hanging on by a thread, hanging within that 8 to 10 spot. We see what the team looks like without him. So if they find a way to sneak into the playoffs, whether it's playing, whether they make it to the AFC, whatever case may be, Steph Curry deserves to be in MVP conversations. I understand he won't win because obviously you got to win it. You got to win more games. I mean, you got to win more games. But at the same time, what Steph Curry is doing right now is ridiculous. And as a shooter, I understand how tough it is to shoot the ball at the clip that he's shooting the ball at. I mean, what is it? The last, 11, 12 games, the man averaging 40 points a game, shooting like 49% from the trade, 54% from the field. What is he? 49 against Philly, 47 against Boston, 33 against Cleveland, 42 against OKC, 53 against Denver, 38 against Houston, 32 against the Wiz, 41 against Milwaukee. Like, this is ridiculous. And these are playoff teams, people. Boston, they're on the hot streak. They're a playoff team now. Philly, playoff team. Denver, playoff team. Milwaukee, playoff team. Like, he's not out there killing scrubs. And a lot of people have had a lot of things to say about Steph to start the season without Klay Thompson. I think he silenced a lot of critics. And Steph is doing what I knew he could do. He's playing at a higher level than he did when he won unanimous MVP. The difference is Steph Curry had a better team around him at that time. So it was easier for them to win basketball games. But now he's literally carrying the Golden State Warriors on his back. I commend him for it. I expect nothing less from the greatest shooter of all time. And speaking of being the greatest shooter of all time, I think it's finally time, Casey, that we did this. He's just the greatest shooter of all time, because I think that's a slick way of people putting Steph Curry in the box. Yes, Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time, no doubt. There's no debate there. We all know this. Steph Curry is one of the best scorers, one of the greatest scorers of all time. Time to take him out the shooting box, put him in the scoring box, because he got rack game. He got mid-range game. We know about the three-point game. We know what he could do offensively, getting his teammates involved. We know what he can do off screens. We know what he's like off ball. Offensively, period. He's an offensive juggernaut. And I think it's time we recognize it. Beyond shooting, Steph Curry is ridiculous. He belongs up there with the likes of Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant. When we talk about greatest scorers, he's in the conversation. He ain't the greatest scorer, but he's in the conversation.
AJ, I have something to say.
Okay.
Wardell Stephen Curry Jr. Should be the 2021 MVP. And I mean that. I know everyone wants to say Joel Embiid. I know everyone. I don't even know who else you would say outside of Joel Embiid in terms of a definitive answer. I mean, maybe Jokic, but like, if we really just sit back and analyze what Steph Curry has been doing this year, it is incredible.
Yeah,
I'm sure you remember before the year we did a topic on Bridge the Gap. I think it was like, who do we think is this year's team to, I don't know, threaten the Lakers, you know, in terms of their run, getting back to the finals. And the team that I chose were the Warriors. And part of the reason I chose the Warriors was Steph Curry. Now, I thought that they would have maybe James Wiseman, or maybe they would have traded that pick, or, we don't know, and Klay Thompson.
At the time you made the prediction, Klay Thompson was healthy.
Yeah, Klay Thompson was healthy. I knew he would be back. So, like, I thought that the Warriors would be that team. Now, Klay Thompson goes down. We saw the first few months of the season for the Warriors, and it was rough, right? And it's not to say that Steph wasn't balling. He was still averaging like 30 at that time. But now we're starting to see Steph in a different mode. We don't get to see this often. Like, we look at the superstars. There's not many that go on runs like this. Probably the last run I've seen like this in terms of just pure dominance. You got to go back to maybe James Harden in Houston, where he had like 35 straight games where whatever he was doing. And then you look at the playoff run LeBron had 2018. You look at Kobe's streak. Back in we don't get many runs like this, and we're seeing it. And it's not that Steph Curry it's not that he isn't doing it against, I don't want to say, obviously he's in the West, but I think what makes it so special is the fact that Steph Curry is a undersized point guard.
Facts.
So 9 times out of 10, when, the 10 guys on the court, Steph Curry is going to be the smallest, if not the second or third smallest person on the court. And he is still able to get his shot. Not to mention, there is no other shooter on the court. There is no other shooter on the court. Andrew Wiggins is not a shooter. Kent Bazemore, you got hops, you're not a shooter. Draymond Green, oh my goodness. Draymond Green has become, it went from an okay shooter to like, he doesn't even try to shoot the ball.
He don't even want to shoot. He don't even want to shoot.
It doesn't even cross his mind. He's wide open. Like the next clearest defender is like 20 feet away, and he's not even looking at the basket. So I just look at what's around Steph, and Steph is putting himself in this different mode of like, I don't care. Clay's not here. We just lost James Wiseman. You know what I mean? So we lost him. I'm putting the team on my back. It don't matter who. It don't matter if it's the 76ers. I'm gonna put the team on my back. It doesn't matter who it is. I'm gonna put my team on the back. And I can't say that we could say the same thing for Joel Embiid. We saw him go out, and the 76ers were just fine. They were able to maintain the number 1 seed. You know what I mean? Jokic, like his first month and a half, it wasn't great. So I just look at Jokic year.
Jokic has been balling though. He has been
balling lately, but I just think the talent around him is so much better than what Steph has. And for Steph to even have the Warriors even anywhere near playoff contention should be rewarded. And what better year for that to happen than this year? I mean, everyone else is kind of hurt or banged up. So it's a weird year. And I think Steph Curry is this year's MVP, hands down.
I think it gets to a point, KC, where the NBA has to look, and again, what is the criteria? Because a lot of times we've seen one time at MVP won where his team wasn't winning that much, and that was Russell Westbrook. The first year he averaged a triple-double. It was undeniable that you had to give him the award that year, right? But they were like the 5th seed in the West, and if I'm not mistaken, they went home in the first round, okay? So outside of him, most of the time it goes off of winning. And that's why even though I feel like, he probably should get it, there's 2 factors in it. One, if they don't make the playoffs, he probably won't even be considered. He probably won't be considered. And I think at the position that they're at, I think they should make the playoffs. I think if they're forced to play in the play-in tournament, which I still think is whack, by the way, I don't like the play-in tournament, but if they are forced to play in the play-in tournament, the way Steph is playing right now, I don't see who's down. I don't see the Grizzlies, the Mavs, or the Spurs taking out the Warriors with Steph playing at the way he is right now. I just
the Mavs,
the Luka and Porzingis may be the closest ones, but they're so up and down, bro. You don't know what you're gonna get from them as a team. Luka's gonna be Luka, right? But them as a team, they're so up and down. They just got smashed by the Kings the other night. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't know what you're gonna get from them. From the Mavs. And so that's why I'm like, I don't know if Steph Curry is playing like this, bro, and he putting up 40, because what it does is it opens up doors for the rest of his teammates too. If Steph going off, like we talked about off the air, you got to focus on how you're going to stop that. That opens up clear lanes, clear passing lanes for Draymond, clear buckets for Andrew Wiggins. Like, that opens up the lanes for them to get their buckets as well. So again, I think the Warriors should make the playoffs, and if they do, this will be a better conversation to have. But I ultimately think if it's going to be about winning, which it has been about so many years, it's going to be hard to give it to Steph with them being the 9th seed in the West. Like, it's going to be tough, man.
So then who would you?
I respect that take. I respect that take, because you know how I feel about Steph. You know how I feel about Steph, right? But it's like, it's tough. To answer your question, who would I give it to? If I had to pick
Steph
somebody,
Curry.
if I had to pick somebody outside of Steph, if they don't make the playoffs, I look at Donovan Mitchell. I look at D Book maybe. I look at Jokic for sure. Donovan Mitchell deserves a conversation, bro. They first in the West, and it's him and Rudy Gobert for the most part. I think he deserves a conversation.
It's not just him and Rudy Gobert.
And the playoffs.
So we're going to sit here and act like Mike Conley. So we're going to act like Mike Conley doesn't have a role on this team. We're going to act like Bogdanovic and
Mike Conley, Bogdanovic, Jordan Clarkson. They got pieces, but
Jordan Clarkson is the sixth man of the year this year.
They got pieces. I'll admit they have pieces. At the same time, though, bro, what's Utah without Donovan Mitchell? They not a contending team at all. They damn sure not first in the West. So it's tough, bro. Who would have thought Utah? Even if I told you to start the season, the Lakers gonna be banged up, the Nuggets gonna be banged up, the Blazers gonna be banged up, I guarantee you wouldn't say the Jazz will be number one in the West.
Well, that's hindsight. It's easy to say that now. I don't know what I'm gonna say.
I guarantee, bro. Stop it.
I might have. What were the Jazz last year?
Utah was, I believe, the 4th or 5th seed because they played Denver the first round.
Yeah, but that was with the bubble and all that. They were trending up.
But you weren't gonna pick. You would have been like, you know what it's time for? D-Book, and
I would have said who?
D-Book, Devin Booker.
Well, so we're gonna act like Devin Booker. They don't have the second best record in the league.
But again, that's not the point. I was saying that you would say the Suns and D-Book would be number one in the West. It's D-Book time, bro. They be number one. Bro.
But no, listen, I would have said that. And they're a game behind.
Exactly. But again, as of right now, D-Book got his team, and he is hurt right now too, by the way. But he got his team at number one in the West. So it's tough to not say he belongs in that conversation. And B kind of dropped off a little bit for me because the team stayed in the first seed and only dipped to the second seed when he went out. You got a tough argument there if your team's still hooping without you. That's tough. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I'm looking at Jokic, especially now. Jokic, if anybody, is going to make his probably his strongest case now without Jamal Murray. He's got more pieces around him, but he was already balling before Murray went out. And now that Murray's not there, he has an opportunity to continue to try to win ball games, to put up crazy numbers. So I can't right now. I feel like I'm not in position as bad as I want to give it to Steph. They in the 9th seed, bro. They the 9th seeded team in the West. You gotta at least be top 5. At least make it to the top 5 before I can say you're league MVP. But if they make the playoffs, I'll say Steph is for sure in the conversation. He's for sure top 3 candidate. But I'm not sure I'll be able to put him over these teams or these players on teams that are competing for the number 1, number 2 spots in their conferences, bro.
See, that's where I think we disagree because, like, usually by this point you have an MVP. Like, there's an MVP favorite, right? Mm-hmm. You know who the MVP favorite is, and I just think that this is a year where we don't have an MVP favorite. Like, most people maybe would say Joel Embiid, but like me and you just said, I don't know. Joel Embiid, when he was out and he missed a significant amount of games this year, the Sixers were able to hold it down. So I don't know if you could say that. Donovan Mitchell, personally, I just don't think Donovan Mitchell is the MVP. Like, they would, if LeBron and KD said it best. Like, ain't nobody think about Utah. Let's just keep it real.
And that's facts. That's facts. Which is why I said to start the season, nobody would have saw them coming, bro, to be number 1 in the West. It's remarkable.
That's fact. I can see that. That is remarkable, but that's boring. Donovan Mitchell, league MVP, Adam Silver, he'll make the call. But I just think that, I don't know. I don't think D-Book, like, I feel like because Chris Paul is there, Chris Paul would still votes from Devin Booker. They don't even vote Devin Booker in for the All-Star game. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's not even top 10 under 25 according to these people. So which is asinine, but go ahead.
What about your boy? You brought him up on the last show. What about your boy, robotic Kawhi Leonard?
Kawhi Leonard, he just got hurt. And he'll be out about a week.
That's not too much time, though. That's not. Steph has missed probably a week's worth of basketball so far this season.
He has, but what's gonna hurt Kawhi's case, in my personal opinion, in that he's too robotic, right? He would have had to literally play the season. Like it would have had you can't miss time. And like I feel like it's kind of like with Donovan Mitchell, like when nobody's thinking about Utah, like no one's really thinking about Kawhi. But if they would have been able to finish top two,
Yeah.
in the West, Kawhi would have played because he's already low managing, so he's missing those games. Now you're missing additional games. I just don't know if the argument will be strong enough. Like the narrative isn't there for a Kawhi MVP.
Very quietly, I think what also may hurt his case is PG on a little tear himself. PG been
He
averaging
is.
like 30 over the last, I don't know, like 5, 6, 7 games now. And it's
He
been
is.
real low key because Steph been lighting the league on fire. But PG, I'll give him his flowers now because I know I ain't giving them to him in the playoffs. PG, he hooping right now. I get a man respect where it's due. He hooping right now.
PG is hooping. I just think when it's all said and done, if Steph Curry can finish these last 15 games out and get the Warriors in they can jump. Who's in front of them? Who's in front of them?
You got
They
the
can
Grizz,
jump.
you got the
They
Grizz,
can
the
jump
Mavs.
them. They can jump. They can jump both of them. If Steph keep balling like this, they can be top six. All you got to do is be top six.
Yeah. If they get top six, then yeah. If they get top
Okay.
six, then yeah. But they're gonna need a lot of help. They're gonna need the Blazers and the Mavs to continue to lose games. So we gonna see. And then they gotta keep winning. And Steph can't have a bad game because when he does, they don't win. You know what I'm saying? So if he wants it, it's
That's
there for him
fact.
to get it. You know what I'm saying? It'll be there if he can make this run, especially if he can avoid the play in. That would really be remarkable. I just don't know if I see that happening. But Steph, get there and I'll push that narrative for you, my brother.
I'm
I'll
pushing
try
it
my
now.
hardest.
Steph for MVP.
Yeah,
Hop on the bandwagon before it's too late. I wonder what the odds are for that. If you in
man.
Vegas, go down and place, put a marginal size, obviously,
Marginal.
whatever you can bet, marginal size, and place it for Steph MVP and watch. Give it about 2 months. It'll be a great return on investment.
Bet on your boy KC. Bet on your boy KC.
Bet on your boy KC. Now, Steph get to tricking the next week. I'm sorry.
Don't at that point. Don't call KC. Don't call.
Yeah,
KC.
don't call me. Call AJ.
Let's move over here to football because obviously, again, today is Wednesday. Next Thursday is the start of the NFL draft. KC, we got a lot of big names coming out of this draft this year. We got a lot of teams that need to make moves in the draft this year. There's a lot of talent, a lot of superstar potential in this talent, but we want to start with the quarterbacks. KC, which quarterback do you believe is the best quarterback in the draft?
So, if you know me, you know one guy that I've literally been watching since probably his senior year of high school, definitely his freshman year of college, is none other than that man, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is special. I think Trevor Lawrence today is the best quarterback coming out the draft, but I don't know if Trevor Lawrence 5 years from now will be the best quarterback from this draft. So I think Trevor Lawrence, and what really I think can hurt Trevor Lawrence, now maybe with Urban Meyer being in Jacksonville, maybe that'll change some things. Maybe he'll be able to get better talent to come to Jacksonville. Obviously, he's always been good with recruiting at Florida, at Ohio State. But I think that if Trevor Lawrence being in Jacksonville may hurt him long term because, it's Jacksonville. It doesn't matter what they do. They just don't. And I don't know. Maybe people just, I don't know. You down in Florida, right? Maybe you ain't thinking about football all the time. You lose the first 5 games. The trees start seeing, the water gets a little louder down there. I don't know if that's the case, but I just think that him being in Jacksonville may hurt him long term. But I think he's today, he's the best quarterback coming out. Now, long term, and lately he's been getting a lot of momentum. But if you were a team, let's say like the Atlanta Falcons, or if you were a team, let's say the San Francisco 49ers, and maybe you are a year away from moving on from a Jimmy Garoppolo, or 2 years away from moving on from a Matt Ryan. There's a guy out there by the name of Trey Lance. And he has the potential to be special. And I don't know who you're going to say, but I know you being out with Minnie. You know, he's from your neck of the woods, Minnesota.
He's a baller.
He's a baller from Minnesota, went to North Dakota State. He only played 1 year, you know, but there's been a lot of hype around Mac Jones, and Mac Jones has only played 1 year. So I now granted that was at Alabama. Let me not be disrespectful, but it's still 1 year. That's the same amount of tape. But you just look at Trey Lance's size, his speed, his athleticism, his decision making, the IQ. Like, it just seems like it's all there, and he just seems like he has it. And sometimes in the NFL, if you have it, it works. Look at Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes wasn't the first quarterback off the board, but he had it, and it shows. And I think if you're a team like Atlanta, and maybe you can sit there and you can just sit him on the bench, let him learn the system, kind of like what I've been saying the Packers should do with Jordan Love, but that's a conversation for another day. Let him learn the system and then give him a year. And once that year is up, you give him the Patrick Mahomes. I think that he has the ability to be special. And that doesn't come along all the time. You don't have situations where you have quarterbacks that can throw, that can run, that are athletic, that are big. And I think when you do, and you have an opportunity to groom them, you have to take advantage of that. And remember, the last quarterback to come out of this school, North Dakota State, Josh Allen. And he's been pretty good for Buffalo. So I think Trey Lance would be my long-term best quarterback out of this draft. But today, in order to come in tomorrow and make your franchise better, Trevor Lawrence, and it's not even close.
KC, I think I'm going to shock you with what I'm about to say. I think I'm going to shock a lot of people with what I'm about to say. But so, of course, the media, and I figured KC would come out and say Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in the draft. And honestly, it's hard to deny. I know the man puts up numbers. The man is extremely accurate. The man got a 169 QBR rating, 24 touchdowns last season, 5 interceptions. The season before, 36 touchdowns, just 8 interceptions. We know Trevor Lawrence is a baller. We know Trevor Lawrence can play, and I don't want to take that away from him. But I personally believe that Trevor Lawrence is going to be a bust. I believe T-Law, Trevor Lawrence is going to be a bust. Now, when I say bust, Casey, I don't mean he's not going to be okay. I don't mean he's going to be Jamarcus Russell or something. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I don't think he's going to reach the heights that people are saying he's going to reach. I've heard a lot of comparisons to guys like Brady and a lot of comparisons to guys like Aaron Rodgers, and they're saying he has the potential to get to that level, and I'm not denying that the man has the potential to get to that level. But I kind of see him being like a one-hit wonder, kind of like a Matt Ryan. You know what I mean? I kind of see him coming in, he gets you to a Super Bowl, he lose, or better yet, kind of similar to a Cam Newton, where Cam Newton was great for a period of his career, but he had that one crazy year where he went to the Super Bowl, and then Cam Newton quite wasn't the same anymore. You can blame it on the team, you can blame it on the offense, the defense, the personnel, the receivers, whatever. But Cam wasn't quite the same Cam after that Super Bowl run, and I see Trevor Lawrence being that way, especially playing for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They don't have many pieces over there. Their offensive line isn't that great. Yeah, they could pick up some more pieces in the draft, and yeah, they could build around Trevor Lawrence. But what I saw in that national championship game is Trevor Lawrence struggling to throw the ball under pressure in the pocket. That is what I saw, and I only needed to see it once on the big stage. I'll tell you who I'm looking at, though, who I believe is going to be the best quarterback in the draft. And this quarterback has been sliding. A lot of people have been disrespecting this man. I'm going to tell y'all right here, right now.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. But no, rightfully so, the best in the draft. I don't know what you said. Rightfully so, too. Rightfully so. Justin Fields will be the best quarterback in the draft coming out of Ohio State. The man has shown what he can do on the football field. He puts up the numbers. QBR isn't as high as Trevor Lawrence, but you got 175. You got 22 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions. They didn't play as many games last year, so we know there's a difference in statistics there. The year before that, 41 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions. He's obviously a dual threat. I think he can throw the ball from the pocket. He's shown he could take a hit. Oh boy, almost knocked his ribs out of his body in the playoffs last year, or this past season. He's shown he could take a hit. He's shown he's got that grittiness, that toughness. He's shown a level of heart that we haven't seen out of a lot of quarterbacks in college football. And I think this guy is somebody that a lot of people are sleeping on. He reminds me in a lot of ways of kind of Deshaun Watson, where again he can throw from the pocket. He can get outside the pocket. And in the league today, where a lot of quarterback talent, a lot of offensive game plans are built around quarterbacks that can move with the football. I think Justin Fields is going to be the best coming out of this draft. That's just my gut. That's what my gut is telling me. I think a lot of people are sleeping on this man. I think he's going to fall in the draft, but I think he's going to fall and he's going to come out and be another Deshaun Watson. I think he has the potential to be another Lamar Jackson. I think he has the potential to be another Russell Wilson as far as impact on his franchise, impact on whatever team he gets drafted to, especially as I look at some mock drafts here, especially if he falls to Atlanta, you know what I mean? Or he falls to some of these teams here. Like if you fall to a team that has a bit of a better offensive line and has weapons on the outside, look out. So I'm looking at that boy Justin Fields. I think a lot of people are sleeping on that man, and I think he'll end up falling in the perfect situation to be a solid quarterback in NFL. I think I say give him 2-3 years. I think he will be saying he's one of the best in the league. That's just me. That's my gut.
No. AJ. First of all, I need to address your hate. I don't want to say hate, but I need to address the cap that you just put on Trevor Lawrence. First of all, no. Trevor Lawrence, you can't say Trevor Lawrence is going to be a bust and then compare him to like Cam Newton, and Cam Newton won an MVP, or Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan won an MVP. And these guys went to Super Bowls.
Listen. I'm a bust compared to what they are saying he's gonna be. Like I said, I preface my comments by saying they're comparing him to Tom Brady. They're comparing him to Aaron Rodgers. Do I think he'll reach those heights? No, I don't think he's gonna reach those heights. But I'm not saying he can't come in and be a productive quarterback. I think he'll be a productive quarterback, but I think according to his own hype, I think he's gonna be a bust.
So what you're saying is he'll be good. He just won't be the greatest player of all time.
He'll be good. He just won't be like remarkable automatic Hall of Fame. That's the limit. He will be good, but he ain't gonna be no Aaron Rodgers, no Tom Brady. That's what I'm saying.
If Trevor Lawrence is good in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence will be going to the Hall of Fame.
We'll see.
If Trevor Lawrence is good in Jacksonville, he'll be the greatest quarterback in Jacksonville Jaguar history. Right?
That's not saying much. That's not saying you a Hall of Fame.
It might not be saying much, but to be the greatest quarterback in a franchise history,
bro. Eli. So I think Eli Manning
is Eli going to the Hall of Fame.
I think Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer. A lot of people try to say he's not though, because he don't put up the kind of numbers. Eli Manning, if he could be a surefire Hall of Famer in Jacksonville, that's not saying much, bro. That's not saying he's amazing. You feel what I'm saying? Like Eli won. Don't get me wrong. Respect to Eli. The man won 2 Super Bowls. Respect to Eli. But let's not act like he was the best quarterback, bro. Let's not act like he was that dude.
Is Eli Manning the best quarterback in the Giants' history?
No, I think Phil Simms is.
Fair. But Eli is top 2. But all right, but
Eli's up there. Eli
is up there. But Eli also won 2 Super. Eli's situation is different because Eli only made 2 playoffs. Like it's not like Eli was going to play. Like he wasn't contending. He just had 2 great runs with 2 great defenses, by the way. Exactly. You know, and they won. But in this situation with Trevor Lawrence is far more the superior athlete in talent than Eli Manning, and that's fact.
He is from what we see. But all I'm saying is. He got happy feet in the pocket and don't nobody want to talk about it, bro. He got happy feet in that pocket.
Happy feet?
Yes. Or I'm sorry, I made a mistake. They lost before the national championship game last year, didn't they?
Yeah, they lost in the semi.
I needed to correct that. I saw happy feet in the semifinals last year when they played against Bama. When they played against Bama, and I think it was Bama. Yeah. They played against Bama in the semifinals. So correction from earlier. When they played against Bama in the semifinals earlier in the playoffs, he had happy feet. Anytime I see a quarterback throw the ball and duck his shoulder to look the other way, almost like you throwing it like without looking downfield, that's a problem. And you going to a team who has a terrible offensive line. Not only that, but they don't have weapons either. So you just chucking the ball, don't know where you throwing it. Like,
no, first of all,
this
is cap. No, they have weapons. Jacksonville has weapons. They have Chark. They have Keelan Cole. They have the running back Robinson that probably should have won rookie of the year. They have weapons in Jacksonville. He is going to – I'm telling you, the Jacksonville Jaguars will be a problem next year. But I want to talk about Justin Fields real quick because you tried to throw this in. You tried to throw it in. There's a reason why Justin Fields is sliding on people's big boards. Remember, if you go back a year ago, Justin Fields, everybody was comparing him and Trevor Lawrence. There's a reason why Trevor Lawrence is still the number one pick, and Justin Fields is sliding to the middle of the first round, maybe even to the 20s, just depending on who's picking in the first round. And the reason is because Justin Fields has happy feet too. And I know you say, oh, he could take a hit. There's a reason he getting hit because he ain't moving in the pocket, and when he moving, he not looking downfield. Listen, I've watched Justin Fields. I get it. He's a good dude, just from what I've seen from the outside, and I want him to succeed. I don't want Justin Fields to fail, but I also turn on the tape. And you mentioned Jacksonville not having an offensive line. I'm sorry, what offensive line does Atlanta have?
They got weapons though, bro. And he might.
That's fine. They got weapons with Matt Ryan. And how many games they win last year?
I mean, Matt Ryan is different. Matt Ryan can't move outside the pocket. I think, again, in a situation where you playing with Atlanta, bro, first off, Matt Ryan is... So you think, if Atlanta gets him, you think they should... If Atlanta drafts Justin Fields, you think that Atlanta should start Justin Fields right away? No. I think there's no way. I think... So I was just looking at I'm looking at a mock draft right here that got Justin Fields going number 4. So I'm just saying, if Justin Fields were to go forward to Atlanta, I think that'd be a nice situation for him. I don't think they should start him right away over Matt Ryan, because I respect Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is a solid quarterback, but I say within the next probably 2 years, within the next year or two, I would definitely have Justin Fields out there in that lineup, because you've seen what you're gonna do with Matt Ryan. You've reached your limit with, like you said, with Aaron Rodgers. You've reached your cap with Matt Ryan. You ain't going nowhere with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan come in, he could teach Justin Fields the game, teach him what, you know what I'm saying? Teach him how to not have happy feet. I don't know. Teach the man the game. He did go to a Super Bowl once. You still got Julio Jones out there. You get a quarterback like that, a mobile quarterback like that. You get him in a system where you have receivers on the outside, bro. It's a decent offense. Their defense has been the problem most of the time. The offense is solid. I think you put Justin Fields in that offense, and you got to worry about the deep ball and him throwing from the pocket as well as running. It's going to be a problem. Again, I think a lot of mobile quarterbacks, bro, like the dual threat ability is a problem in the league right now. Even if you're not the greatest passer, that can be developed. But if you got them wheels on you, though, you can buy time in the pocket. You can get your receivers open that way. You can take off for a first down. Look at what we've seen from Jalen Hurts last season. He played pretty well. Look at what we've seen from Lamar Jackson, who slid all the way down to 30 because people didn't think he could throw, and now he's one of the best players in the league. If you can run, bro, and again, this isn't to say that Justin Fields can't throw, because I think Justin Fields can throw, and I think he's accurate. But the thing is, there's a benefit to having happy feet if you're Justin Fields, because if you do have happy feet and you don't have a clean pocket, you can always take off for 10 yards. You can always take off for 5 yards. You can always do the read option, a little wildcat. Though that's options that you now have in Justin Fields that you're not gonna have with every quarterback in this draft. So that's why, again, I think he can use those wheels as he continues to develop as a passer. And I don't think it would take him that long to develop as a passer, because I think he's better as a passer than Lamar Jackson was coming out of the draft. You know what I mean? I think he's better as a passer than, other mobile quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts. I think he's better as a passer coming out of the draft. And I think he's shown it. He's shown it throwing the dudes running 20
yards wide open down the field. You're right.
When you're a dual threat and you could buy time in the pocket, it gives receivers time to get 20 yards open, bro. We've seen it time and time again with Lamar. We've seen it with Russell Wilson. We've seen it, bro. If you can move, that gives you time, bro.
That's different though. But that's my point. And there's one thing to move and keep your eyes down the field. There's another thing to move and just go.
But that's something he could learn, though. That's something you could teach this man, though.
Yeah, but how many hits is it gonna take? You already said he don't got his ribs was almost yanked out of his side. But like, how many hits is it gonna take for him to realize that?
He bounced up and kept playing. Though, so they take the ribs up. We good. We good.
You know they did. You know who else said that? And they had I don't know, an illustrious career. Robert Griffin III. How's he doing today? How's Robert Griffin III doing?
RG3.
You knew I was gonna go RG3.
I did. I felt it coming, bro. Listen. RG3 had leg injuries, okay. And until this man has some vicious ACL tears or MCL tears, he's gonna be fine. Like I said,
well,
bro,
I wish
get him in the right.
I wish nothing but the best for him. Obviously you don't want to see that, but
right.
You gotta be more careful, kid.
I think again, you look at cats like Trevor Lawrence, you look at cats like Zach Wilson. I'm surprised neither one of us brought him up. You look at cats like Trey Lance, like these are great quarterbacks, but they might go high. And the higher a team is drafting, the 9 times out of 10, unless a team traded up, the worse that team is gonna be. I think he's gonna be in a good situation wherever he goes. To later in the draft, if he goes to the Falcons, I don't know if he goes to maybe even the Panthers. They might be looking for another quarterback. Who else? He could fall down to. Hey, man, if I was Minnesota, I'd pick him up. If I'm being honest, I would. It's time to let go of Kirk Cousins. It's time to let go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to fall farther in the draft. And the further you fall back in the draft, you get to a better organization. Again, look at Lamar Jackson, bro. He fell into the perfect organization. Already a great defense, already a great head coach, don't have many weapons, but you in a system with a great head coach that can move an offense and work an offense around you, and a defense that can create turnovers, get stops, and allow you to work with short fields. I'm telling you, bro. I'm trying to tell you.
We'll see.
Out. Bridges got fans. Look out for Justin Fields. I'm trying to tell you.
You know you're gonna have to stamp that one, right? You gotta stamp that, right? So we'll revisit this in 3 years. We'll revisit it in 3 years when Justin Fields still can't get off the bench for whoever's backing up. I don't know, whoever's in Atlanta at that time. We'll revisit it like, man, remember Justin Fields was supposed to be the best quarterback from this draft.
Place your bets. I'm trying to tell y'all.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Trey Lance, T. Law, all fall.
He said all fall.
But we're going to leave that one there. I did want to get your take on this because obviously with the draft coming up, the point of the draft isn't just to keep being bad, right? Like, of course, obviously you have a scouting team, you have a general manager. The point of the draft is to get better. And a lot of times in the draft, I mean, we've seen impact players in the first, second, third, fourth, sixth round. And I think some teams think that sometimes they're just a player away or a draft away. So kind of just looking at the outlook of the draft order, some of the teams that have abundance of draft picks here, who do you think is the team that is, let's say, like a draft away from competing for a championship?
Oh, competing for a championship, that's a very, very tough one. I think, honestly, when we talked about this topic before we started to record, one of the first teams that came to mind for me, the Miami Dolphins. I think the Miami Dolphins are playing in a division. Granted, it's a very tough division. You got New England. Yes, you got the Buffalo Bills. You know what I mean? Like, it's a tough division, but they did go 10-6 last year. And they did, a few, missed turns here and there, a few drop passes, a few interceptions here and there, a couple injuries here and there. That team could have very well been 12-4, 11-5. I think they missed the playoffs by one game. You know what I mean? So I think they're in the prime position to have a solid draft. I think they're drafting number 18 this year. I think it's a possibility they might trade up. I think they should get them some more offensive line help. If that's not available, get you a top-notch receiver to throw the football to. I still believe in Tua. I know he didn't have the greatest season last year for his rookie season, but it is your rookie season. I do think he will get better. But I just look at that team. They have a solid defense, or a solid defense. They have a solid head coach. They have the pieces, I feel like, to compete. I feel like a few moves here get you some offensive line help, get you a deep field, a downfield threat, and I feel like, or another downfield threat, because Parker can ball too. But another threat to get the ball downfield, give Tua some more options. I feel like that's a team to look out for. Again, they're playing in a very tough division, but I like the Dolphins. I like the way they're built. And I think they're built for the future. I just think, they need more talent on the offensive side of the ball. I don't have a lot of questions about that defense, but offensively, yes, we need Tua to take another step because he wasn't the greatest last season. And yes, they need some they need Tua to improve receiving help in the offensive line. I think they can get all three this offseason. So I look at the Miami Dolphins, and I think they'll make the playoffs this year. I think they'll go 11-5, and I think they'll make the playoffs. So I look at the Dolphins, and I say they're a good draft away from competing.
Okay, fair. I think the Dolphins are good. For me, the Dolphins, one thing that kind of strikes me, I thought last year was going to be that year for them. Mm-hmm. They had too many good picks, and I just think they blew it. Like I still don't know if Tua was that
hurt
good.
A little bit. You don't
like they had, yeah, like they had 3 picks. What, like in the top 20?
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know.
They did.
You said what?
I said they did sell on some of those picks, but again, it's a lot of cats rookie year, man. You never know what kind of steps will be taken, and you know what I'm saying, later on. So, but
that's true.
Yeah, you got a point though. They did sell on them.
Yeah. So that's the only thing that gives me cause to pause. I think the team that I have is a team that.
Let me say this real quick though. Last quick thing. I do expect them to trade up though, and if they trade up and draft them a receiver, look out. But continue.
You think that's gonna be the difference?
I think it'll get them another win, 11-5, and get them in the playoffs. I think so. If they can trade up, get to that top 6, and get them Devontae Smith, you know what I mean? Possibly get them a Jamar Chase. Possibly. I don't know if Jamar gonna slide though. It's a lot of teams looking at Jamar, so I don't know if he gonna slide to 6. But if they can move, I feel like if they can move into that top 6, they'll be in a decent position to make some noise. But continue with your take.
No, I mean that's interesting. I mean, to have a game changer like Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase, maybe that helps Tua. I know we've talked about it off air. Just Devontae Smith being there when Tua was there might help. It might be a connection that, I don't know, helps a little bit with that. But the team that I think is a player away or even a draft away, I mean, it just kind of depends, is a team that I don't think anybody, like I mentioned what I give out earlier, Steph Curry, MVP. The bet I'm giving out today to make the playoffs is the New England Patriots. I think that Bill Belichick saw Tom Brady get one more, and it pissed him off.
Yeah,
I know it did, and I know it did because I know it would have made me mad. I would be furious if I saw it, because I mean, we still don't know the true story behind Belichick and Brady, right? Like, we know that the last few years were a little weird. We don't know who really wanted Brady. They drafted Jimmy Garoppolo, right? And that never happened. Brady kept winning. So I think when Bill Belichick saw, if you just put talent around Tom Brady, he would have been good. I think it makes him like, I think the New England Patriots, if they can get another receiver, or if they can find another playmaker on defense, I know a lot of people kind of want them to get quarterback, but like, I think Cam Newton can be good. Like, I still believe in Cam Newton. I'm not writing the ship off. You mentioned a Devontae Smith or Jamar. Can you imagine if Devontae Smith? Because now, one thing people forget about Devontae Smith went to Alabama. Alabama, yes, they are super loaded with talent, but another thing about Alabama, they're coached well.
Facts.
They're coached very well, and a lot of people are kind of hesitant on Devontae Smith right now because he's undersized. You know who else was undersized? Wes Welker. You know who else was undersized? Julian Edelman, who, by the way, just walked out the door. So if you put Devontae Smith in that system, I think he'll be able to learn it quick. They got the tight ends now. They got support around Cam Newton. All the dudes that didn't play last year because of COVID are coming back. You have a solid draft. You get some talent around Cam, more talent than they've been able to get already this offseason, because Bill went out and he went shopping. He went shopping this summer.
He went on a shopping spree.
He went on a shopping spree. He saw Brady get the ring, and he went on a shopping spree.
He saw Brady win that ring. He called Cam up and said, "You can have whatever you like."
Yeah, Here's the catalog.
Looking right.
Page 5, receivers right there. Boom. Who you want? Like, Bill went shopping, and I think that right there, because we never see Bill Belichick do that, shows you he's in a different headspace. He's in a completely different mind space this year. And I think that you have to watch out for New England, because if they can get their hands on a receiver, and it doesn't even have to be a Devontae Smith. Like, there's other one I've mentioned, Bateman from Minnesota. He's nice. I could see him fitting in nice. They still got N'Keal Harry. He's still there, even though he's had some, weird moments, but he's still young. Like, he's still developing. And I just think that if you give them the right draft, they'll be all right.
Waddle might be there too to take.
Waddle might be there. I see Waddle is more of a Waddle is apparently faster than Smith. I don't want to say Smith is going to be a slot, but like, I feel like they might try to box him into that because of his size. I think Devontae Smith could be, a number one wide receiver in the league. Kind of like Julian Edelman. I mean, Julian Edelman was a number one receiver. He could play the slot. He could play outside. I just think that Waddle is more of a one-on-one dude. Yeah, like, you put him on the outside, he'll win those matchups against those cornerbacks.
You brought up Devontae Smith and you said he was sliding down, and I am praying to God that this man slide to 12. Let him slide to 12 so my birds can get him. That's all I gotta say. I had to throw my birds in there one good time. Let him slide to 12. I think it's possible. I don't think it's likely, but I see a lot of big boards that got him sliding, and I'm like, oh, all right now. And rumor has it that we are looking for a good receiver finally this draft. Rumor also has it that the Philadelphia Eagles may be trying to trade up again. I don't know if they're going to do that or not. Who knows? They might try to trade up and draft a quarterback. Who knows? But
I was going to say, the rumor also has that the new head coach hasn't named a starting quarterback yet.
Man, they out there trying to play rock, paper, scissors and crap, talking about this is going to gauge your competitive spirit. Like, oh my. Again, conversation for another day. But I say all that to say, KC, this is probably, when I look through the talent in this draft, this could be a game-changing draft for a lot of different teams. If Trevor Lawrence is who they say he is, Zach Wilson's supposed to be very good. I got a lot of faith in Justin Fields. Kyle Pitts is going to be great. Monster. I think obviously Jamar Chase is going to be good. I think Devontae Smith is going to be good. And I think he's going to be very good because he's slept on. I think even though he won the Heisman, him being undersized, a lot of people are sleeping on him. Also like Patrick Surtain. And I know you're not the biggest fan of him, but coming out of Alabama, like you said, they are coached very well. And I think he's a cornerback that can develop into something special. And somebody that nobody's really talking about, and I know he's probably going to slide really, really far in this draft. I don't even know if he's I don't even know if the man's a first round pick, second round pick, third round pick. But I like Asante Samuel Jr. a lot too. I like him a lot too. I think he's got game at the cornerback position. Obviously, learning from his dad, I was a big Asante Samuel fan when he played. I think that kid has some talent, but that's probably not until late in the draft. Casey, you probably know a little bit more about where he may fall in the draft. But yeah, just throwing some names out there. This draft should be very, very interesting. I see a lot of moves being made, a lot of franchises being made with this draft. So we're gonna see how this goes.
Yeah, it'll be really good. We didn't even know if we were gonna get an NFL season. So I think to get an NFL season, get tape on these dudes, I think was good for the NFL. And then real quick, because you mentioned cornerbacks, you're right. I Sertan, I'm sorry. I just don't see it. And I know I mentioned Alabama. Yes, you're coached well, but you know who else was coached well at Alabama and played that position? Trevon Diggs. And he got cooked every single Sunday. So it's like maybe Sertan just might not be that dude. And maybe just the rest of that defense was stacked. But if you're looking for a good cornerback, sleeper, Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech. That's my sleeper. A lot of people are probably going to stay away from him because he's coming off of surgery. Healthy.
What kind of surgery we talking? I didn't hear about it.
I think he had a what was it? It was something on his shoulder or his arm.
Okay, that's not as bad.
I think it was something like that.
If we was going to say
Caleb Farley out of it.
My bad. If you was gonna say something on the legs, I'd have been like, No,
I don't think it was a leg injury. I think it was an arm or shoulder. He had surgery on it, but the dude could play. The dude could play. He's a ball hawk. So Caleb Farley would be my sleeper pick. He probably would have been a first round pick. He might slide to the second. So I know your defense is pretty banged up over there in Philadelphia. I know we still got Kevin King in Green Bay. So
We're gonna see.
Might be a sleeper pick.
Hey, y'all, make sure y'all watch the draft on Thursday. Bridge the gap. This is all we have for y'all today. We will be covering the draft. We will be letting y'all know who drafted what. The big names, Kyle Tibbs, or what's dog name? Kyle Tibbs, Tubbs.
Tom Thibodeau.
It's time to go. My fault. Javon Chase. Devontae Smith, you know, all the big names. We'll make sure we let y'all know where they go in the draft. But until next time, Bridge the Gap fans, we will catch y'all next time. We out.